Good morning. This is a brief walkthrough of every settlement in Fallout 4. There are timestamps in the description if you want to skip to a specific settlement. In this video it'll cover the location of it and just brief walkthrough of how I built it, some of my tips and tricks. If you want a more detailed video on the theory behind it, why I did things certain ways, I've got another video that goes more in depth into that. I'll leave it in the description and at the end of this video. Alright, let's get into it. This is Sanctuary. This is the first place you go to, so I don't really need to talk about the description of where it is because you'll find it right away. This is the original, this is what I use as my headquarters building because it's already got some of the good construction stuff around it, so I just build everything around this building. It's really the only place I need to go to when I fast travel back to Sanctuary. You can see I like to cover up some of the windows with flags or whatever else. It helps for concealment but not cover, but you know, it's just a little touch. Back here you got your food. You can see I've only got 11 people at this settlement, so I don't need full farms. Up down here, so this has got a waterway going through it, so you can set up the massive water purifiers to act as surplus, and these concrete walls are blocking any way that raiders can climb up from the river, so it limits where they can get into Sanctuary, which means that you can set up better defenses to bottleneck them. Here's the first way that they get in, and raiders and super mutants will spawn outside this fence. You can just block that off, but I just put some gun turrets around it. Each of these houses is about the same because there's only 11 people here, and because Sanctuary has so many intact buildings, I didn't bother building anything else for storing people. So I just put beds in all the buildings, and that works. Now out here, this is outside the building area, but it's kind of a neat thing that some people miss, that root cellar. That's if you're very early and you're coming down, you can go in there real quick for some, I think it's purified water, some ammo, and a gun. It's kind of neat, helps you out early. Main house, of course. I left it essentially the way it was for role-playing purposes, you know, like past trauma and all that stuff, because I'm a nerd. This is the second way they get in, and I left this open, but with the wire bottlenecking and all the machine gun turrets facing him. Sanctuary only sends like very low-level enemies at you, so the machine gun turrets are all you need. This building here, because of its proximity to the entrance, that's where I put my shops. That way Trash Can Carla doesn't wander all the way through the whole thing, but she ends up doing that anyway. This first building, kind of a barracks, first point defense, whatever. And in the center, you got your little hard point. So, concrete walls. So if you get attacked, this is, gameplay doesn't fit this, but you know, in theory, you get attacked, everybody falls back to this hard point, you can shut off the door, and now you're safe. And you just have to wait out the siege. You get all your supplies in here. At the second floor you got firing ports, good views of everything, and on the roof you got all of your turrets. You see that power line in there with the generator inside the fortress. You can have a cutoff switch so that you still have power to your turrets, but if somebody lays you under siege, they can't hack in or use your water to keep themselves supplied. Again, gameplay doesn't actually matter. Alright, back to this original spot. You can set up a little box with all of the melee, sorry, not melee, all of the weapons you actually use, so you can swap them out easier. And then in the workbench itself, that's where you dump, you know, everything. That's where I put all my legendaries, and I put all of my settler stuff in a separate box so that I don't have to pick and choose and mix them up. Because I'm playing like a tech priest playthrough, I store all the neat stuff in 2 separate containers, so you can do stuff like that or not. This is Red Rocket Truck Stop right outside Sanctuary. Again, you'll find it right away. I use this as so Sanctuary is like capital, and then Red Rocket Truck Stop is how you get out. So I got 2 different trade paths going from there. I just use this place as a defensive position for Sanctuary, so I don't actually have any people here. It's just a few robots. And the reason I do that is this place isn't great for housing people. So there's room for farms if you want it, but there's no water source, so you're gonna have to use those either hand pumps or the just the dirt ones. Up here though, if you do want people, you want to build up, so you can build a structure up here to house all of your guys. This is also the best place for turrets, of course. Turrets love elevation. This place does get attacked sometimes. They usually come out from the west, and it's always low-level enemies, so it's not a big deal. Yep, second entry point. And over here at the end, nice little elevated spot, so you can actually get a drop on those guys. Yeah, not much to say here. Abernathy Farm is the next one. The supply lines I have for it are just from Red Rocket Truck Stop down to Sunshine Tidings. Abernathy Farm doesn't have anything too dangerous around it. It's pretty close by. Pretty neat looking. I do like how this one is built. It does have 2 problems though. The first one is that there's no water source, so you're gonna have to use more dirt pumps. The second problem might just be with my game, but the settlers tend to not accept tasks after a certain point, so it's hard to get a lot of resources out of this place. Also, sometimes the potato plants that they have there, and they have a lot of them, sometimes they'll get damaged during attacks, and then you'll be unable to repair them. So it's got its quirks, but it's a cool looking place. So again, I always build up, so I have all the settlers up top here, along with a few guns, and these guns actually do have range. I think at the end of this video I get attacked by some dudes, so you can see that happening. Yeah, lots of good farmland available though, lots of space. So that's the main section. That's where most of the workers live and all that. And then this is the fallback point, and it also works as a an area close enough to help with fire, but also near where, you know, the rest of the world is. So it acts as a deterrent and buffer. So that's why I put the fortress out here, or the hard point. I think fortress is the wrong word. Elevated bridge up here, so as you're running across it, you have a little bit of cover from the outside, but the turrets can still mess you up. And then inside's pretty basic, just a few beds, just a little bit of water. Your generator, of course. Yep, neat little door. And second floor, because I was silly, I put our artillery unit up there. Hangmans Alley is going to look way weirder though. Yeah, I left this open air. I put a roof on the sanctuary one so that grenades and stuff wouldn't fall in. But I just left that one open because it's got the elevation anyway. And it's got the roof so that, you know, people won't get hit by grenades and stuff if they're by the beds, if they're hunkering down. Yeah, see, so the machine gun turrets do have the range, even up there, to properly defend. I like this spot. So this next one is Sunshine Tidings Co-op. Got some supply lines from Abernathy Farms, and then going down to GrayGarden. Not a whole lot near Sunshine. To the north, it's just a empty waterway. But to the south, you got that Raider outpost, the Federal Ration Reserve, or stockpile. Sunshine Tidings Co-op is one of my favorites, though. So, the way I built it here, it's only got one entry point. You got this permanent structure over here that I've filled up with shops and stuff. And just for, you know, new guys, in here, there's some supplies and stuff. You might miss it because it's outside the regular thing. Yeah, so Sunshine Tidings Co-op is made up of a bunch of cabins in a circular pattern. Most of them facing inwards with one exception. Tons of good farmland available. Because they already have all the cabins built around it, I didn't have to build any other extra structures to house people, which is pretty nice. Got a lot of shops in here. Nice central location to keep people from wandering around everywhere. Just gonna take this opportunity to build another bed. Yeah, so you might notice that I've got weird things like bunk beds and stuff. So I use I'm playing this on a PS4 because I'm a scrub. And I use the workshop thingy for mods and stuff. But I don't actually pay money for them. It's like every month they'll put out some free stuff. So yeah, those bunk beds have been a savior. This is the building I was talking about. It's opened up to the back, so you can't really get anybody in there, so I just blocked it off so I don't have to deal with people hiding in there. This place, one of the disadvantages, it doesn't have waterway, so dirt pumps. But because of everything else this place offers and the large build size limitation, it's still one of my favorites. And the hard point here is pretty fun to build. Oh, something of note, behind that machine gun you can see that metal I built there. That's because that's where the generator is, so if people are shooting at the machine gun, they would otherwise hit the generator. I do that at Warwick Homestead too, for a different reason, to protect the water purifiers. So it's just something to keep in mind, where the enemies are going to be shooting, what angles, and what else could they hit. And then up here, you know, plenty of cover to not only bunker down, but return fire. I like this place. Here we got GrayGarden, some supply lines to Sunshine Tidings Co-op and Oberland Station. GrayGarden is pretty fun too. It's a good one. It's got that whole little town place that has some enemies in it, but it's not too dangerous. Just north you got those two spots aren't too dangerous. It's got close access to a river, to the highway, and to the railroad. So it's a nice, it's easy access to get to. A lot of stuff around it. So you got the main farm area and that greenhouse thing in the middle. Didn't change that, it's a good spot for it. This place only has one entrance, because it does get attacked fairly, consistently. And, of course, my provisioner is blocking the way, because this is still Bethesda. Alright, once you're inside, you can bottleneck them off to the left, so you force them through this gauntlet. Whole way, they're still exposed to turrets and all that. That's pretty nice. On the outside is where I leave all the food and where I try to leave the majority of the shops. So you got some shops and I guess there's no water access, hand pumps. So this spot right here, you can make an elevator here, you can make a stairwell here. I made a stairwell. Access to this highway is what makes this one so much fun. Because there's something about the elevation and building a settlement on top of a highway. And I did just cram these guys in like sardines. I could have made that a little bit prettier, but you could see here in a second, yep, all of those beds. You know, it works, and yeah, going into more detail on that, I'll save for that other video where I already talked about it, but yeah, just a few more shops, some stuff. Blocking off access because it's conceivable that somebody could jump up from that way.
Yes.
And access the main roof. Something of note, that whole stairwell going up, they were completely exposed the entire time to all the turrets, so that's something I like to keep consistent with entryways. Not much of note up here, not even beds, just I wanted to put something here because of the nice views, so artillery, of course, great for artillery. And up here, I put turrets here, I put defenses here, but nothing ever comes up here. So they are just kind of for headcan, I suppose. Down there, great views, but nothing can climb up here. This is actually outside the building area, too. Now, I am going to show you, that's all for the settlement, but just outside of here is a suit of power armor. I've already taken it away, so you can't see it, but I'll show you the location. It's right there. You can see the edge of the vertibird. Yep, power armor was standing right here, right next to the down vertibird. It's T-45. So here is Oberland Station. It's got connections to Hangmans Alley, GrayGarden, and then all the way down here is the Egret towards Marina. That trip to Egret towards Marina is tough because, well, for your settlers, is there's the super mutants and raiders all the way down that path. Oberland Station is okay, I suppose. It's got a pretty low building cap and no access to water. So be a little bit frugal with your building here. One entrance at the front, because that's where all the enemies spawn. They spawn at the front and down that hill. But as you can see later in the video, I don't have defenses going around the entire thing. I just have it under range of the turrets. Inside, yeah, so I built all this up because there's only one structure when you get here, and that's that little tower. So I just built all the housing around it. This goes over the train tracks, so it would have been wasted space anyway. There's good farmland on the other side there. But on top, yep, lots of turrets. I've never seen enemies come from this way, but, you know, may as well throw down a turret or two.
You know what I call a good day?
Good farmland here, and I just extended the farm out a little bit. But no outer defenses on this side because of the build limit. Hangmans Alley, this is an important one. Because it's the closest you can get to inside the city, and it's very close to Diamond City. It's got the one connection to Oberland Station. Hangmans Alley is weird. It's very tight. It's very constricted because it's in the middle of the city. It's surrounded by fairly low level, but raiders and super mutants and all that. But this area right by the water is fairly safe, so that's where I put the main entrance. Great kill zone here. Bodies just pile up in this little corner whenever I get attacked. Inside, you gotta do some tricks for the space. You just build up. That second entrance, you saw it out of the corner, I just boarded up. So only one way in and out. Plenty of turrets to protect it. Gotta be very careful with the pumps here. I mean, not careful, but it's finding the dirt available in order to put down a water pump is tough here. But yeah, on the first floor, all of your water, all of your shops, but you notice no food. That's because I pulled something sneaky with the planters. Yeah, second floor, all beds. So, okay, this artillery turret, I get it. It's a giant concrete turret that's balancing on the edge of a building and wooded planks. If you if you want to make it a little bit cleaner, a little bit better, you can build a concrete structure there and build it up on top of the concrete structure. That might make it a little bit better. And yeah, that door is just blocked off. And then, yep, here are all the planters. So it actually makes quite a bit of food. I was surprised. This that I built up here, there is no purpose for it. I just wanted to be tall and to be able to see everything, so that's not necessary at all. Off to the side here, I do recommend this though. This little boardwalk way with all the turrets, it creates a very good kill zone because enemies do spawn there as well. That door is blocked, so they can't get in, but they'll still get shredded. And then if you build this staircase, yep, you can jump. And now you have access to the rooftops and to some stranger views, courtesy of Bethesda. Thank you very much. Walking along the rooftops, there's nothing up here. It's just kind of fun. Some good views. So this is Egret towards Marina. It's got connections up north to the Oberland Station. Then it goes down to Summerville Place and Jamaica Plain. Egret towards Marina, I'm a little mixed on it. So it's in a dangerous spot. It's got Mirelurks to the south, Supermutants to the north, Gunners to the west, and yeah, Gunners to the west and Supermutants to the west. So it's surrounded by fairly high-level enemies. So I just have one way in and out, a little kill zone. I didn't bother with the zigzag because they're going to have to run across all that open space, so they'll be exposed for a while. The problem with this place is the size cap. You can see in the corner, I don't have that much built here, and I'm still maxed out. I suppose I do have a lot built here, but yeah, this bottom floor, not much you can do with it. Top floor, yeah, I'm just cramming in beds everywhere I can because of that size cap. Nice little bridge across. Not necessary, kind of fun. Yeah, I've built this place out to be an actual, second story. That's nice, those water purifiers. There is space for water here. I've got 2 of them set up, so you can overproduce water. That's great. I totally forgot this door was locked. So the reason I left that locked is because of the size limitations. I couldn't spread the outer perimeter too far. So that entire building there, I just scrapped everything that was inside and then left it open. So in the past I have put beds there, but then you kind of got to stretch the fence, move some turrets. Enemies don't come from there, but still it's the thought that counts. Enemies also don't do that trick where they just jump in the water. I probably should have put a fence there, but whatever. Got good farmland off here to the side, enough for everybody. And then the hard point right at the end of the pier that people fall back to. I've just got a couple beds in here, it's nothing pretty. Generator, of course, with a cutoff. I don't know how I got that water pump there. And if you're going real headcanon here, if you get Far Harbor, the Minutemen will get boats, so a dock would be very important, especially this deep into the map. So this place could be very, very important for you. I do like it. So this is Summerville Place. It's got connections up there to Egret towards Marina, and this is a dangerous place. So it's got the glowing sea down there with, you know, tons of bad stuff, and it's surrounded by gunners and super mutants and mirelurks, I suppose. So because of its location to the Dead Sea and how dangerous it is, my focus for Summerville Place is as a forward operating base and security. So it's only got the one way in and out. All the turrets can reach it. And I dumped a whole bunch of, you know, hazmat suits and stuff in there so that people can, you know, scavenge the glowing sea. I've only got one suit power armor here with that's lead lined, but I'm planning on throwing some more in. First floor, tons of room for farming. Great for farming, but no waterways. So it's just dirt water pumps to meet the minimum, and all the shops on the first floor. I always build up, but you do have the room to build out. But it is on a hill, so you gotta keep that in mind. But you know, I always build up, pack them in like sardines. Security over happiness. That's my motto. The enemies always attack from either the gunner vault direction or from that main entrance that I have, or they just spawn in right next to everybody. Yeah, I do like this place. Jamaica Plain. Jamaica Plain sucks. It's the worst. I hate Jamaica Plain. Anybody who likes Jamaica Plain is wrong. So, it's got a ton of connections to it. It's kind of a hub for going to other settlements and all that for supply lines. And that's because it's in a good central location, and it's also because they can't do anything else, so you may as well have them work. Now, the reason Jamaica Plain sucks, you can see it right now, it's so bare bones. The building size, the building capacity, is tiny. It's so hard to build up anything of substance here. And there's no waterways, so just dirt water pumps. This is technically the one entrance that I'm in right now, but you know. Whole place, I did get it all walled off. Outer perimeter, that central fortress is fairly decently built. It's just, right now, I am at the cap for size building. I can't even put up a flag. There was so much more I want to do with this place. You can't. And this place gets attacked all the time. So, it's like, you're putting in all this effort to keep this place safe, and you can't do anything fun with it. I hate Jamaica Plain. Oh, this kill zone. I love this kill zone, though. Up the stairs, 2 guns there, just out of melee reach, and once you shut that door, they can't even get up the stairs to you. So that's kind of nice. Here, blocking all that off. Down here, pack them in like sardines. And repeat for upstairs. I did have a little step stair up there so I could just walk up, but I had to get rid of it so I could build a water pump or something because the size limitations. And there's enemies spawn out there all the time, just a few raiders. Raiders out there. More raiders out there. Synths out there. And of course ghouls. So that's about it. I hate this place. This place sucks. It's the worst. You can fit all these mutt fruit plants in there. Because dirt's really hard to find too. That's another thing that sucks about this place. Most of the area is just concrete. Murkwater construction site down here. It's got that one connection to Jamaica Plain, and then also it supplies Vault 88. Vault 88 can be supplied by either Murkwater or Jamaica Plain, doesn't really matter. Murkwater is surrounded by enemies, mostly super mutants and ghouls, but gunners will stop in every once in a while to say hi. It is nowhere. I mean, it's middle of the swamp. Look at this place. It's as far south as you can get, but it's actually not. It's actually farther away from the glowing sea than Summerville Place. This structure here, that just wooden barn thing, sucks. You can't do anything with it. It's just a dead zone. This house here also kind of sucks. It's tough to build around it. You can make it work though. It's just a bit of a pain. And because I built up this one I did, it's also not a very large area, like just square foot wise, so it's tough to build. So yeah, sardines, really bad here. Oh, so this is something of note. So you can see all the missile turrets are on the facing the outer perimeter because they're the best. But on the inner perimeter, I've got all laser turrets. That's because, you know, missile turrets, when they hit stuff and blow up, they'll damage your own things. And sometimes Mirelurk queens will spawn in this water, and then if the missile turrets shoot at it, you'll destroy your water purifiers. You can build more than one water purifier. I didn't because I didn't want this place to get attacked as frequently, because it's kind of a pain to, even with just the laser turrets, sometimes your water purifiers will get damaged. So I just built one. I've got enough excess at other places, so it's fine. I do actually like this place. So, Vault 88, this is the DLC one. It's surrounded by enemies on all sides, mostly raiders. Yeah, so right there, where Vault 88 is, so when you get the DLC, you'll get the mission will pop up like, hey, listen to this radio, and then it'll tell you the location. But it's within that, that ghoul raider hideout. So you gotta fight through all those guys in order to get there, but it'll just straight up tell you the location. So here's the entrance to it, which is really neat. I do like this DLC, it's pretty fun. And a complete kill zone. So this is the one entry point to the vault that I have. So I've got all the turrets and stuff set up like this. Just, you know, welcome home. Nothing says welcome home like 6 turrets pointing at you. These Pip-Boy crates are wonderful. I mean, it doesn't actually change anything, but it means you can start giving your settlers and your supply line guys Pip-Boys, which just, it makes you guys seem so much more authentic, you know? Or not authentic, but like a force to be reckoned with. Like the Minutemen are real. I like that. This reactor is strange. So if you build a little thing, vault power conduit onto a wall here, and you line the reactor up to that, you can then put up another conduit in the actual vault area down the street and pull power from it, but you can't put up a wall conduit in that entrance area and put it to your turrets because those walls aren't removable, so it doesn't count. I don't know, it's really weird. So you gotta manually line up the power lines to the entrance, but not to the actual vault. Alright, now we're in the vault, so first floor, all my shops, one room. Then over here, all my food in a double room area. So you can tell I got 29 people here. That's above maximum for any of my other settlements. So I think the vault allows you to have more settlers. So when I built the structure for this vault, I built it too small. So just keep that in mind whenever you're building. There's going to be more people than you expect. So I had to put in a third central row of beds for these living spaces. Yeah, if I had to do it again, I'd probably make it a little bit longer, maybe another story taller. Yeah, all my workshop there, and a gym. I like to work out. Down here, I got basically a factory. I figure it's a vault, you know? It's super secure already, so it may as well be the industry. This is the overseer's office up here. It's I like mood lighting, so it's a little bit dim. Yeah, there would be a old cranky ghoul sitting there who's insane and likes to torture people, but I decided not to do that speak check and just let her wander the wasteland until she dies, because I didn't like her very much. So now it's just an empty chair. Out here, so you do need to leave some sort of exit to the rest of the vault, because you'll get attacked from out here. So I had it up top, and I got a door so that you know, people can't actually get up here. Now for this DLC, all of this vault, this whole underground area, it is massive. I mean, this is a map of just the entrance area. There's 3 separate wings to it, and they're all about the same size, or a little bit bigger. Now, I wasn't going to walk through the whole... Oh, look at that local map. Look how worthless that is. That doesn't tell you anything. This place is a maze, alright? At this point of the video, I was gonna run around and try to show you it, but I changed my mind because I didn't want it to take forever. But then after I left this place, this vault got attacked by super mutants, so I came back and I had to kill off all the super mutants, so I'm gonna show you anyway, just after this video. Something really cool here. So you got that power station to supply all your power out front, and then out back at this wing, you can see I was forced to line up the power lines. I did try the trick with the power conduit, but it didn't work here because the vault walls weren't snapped onto each other. So down here is your water supply, and it is a massive water purifier. It is great. I think it produces 100. I'm gonna pull it up real quick and check though. And when you come down here to clear it out of enemies and stuff, there's a Mylar Queen or something like that just playing around. Yeah, 100 water from this. God, it is wonderful. I do like this this place. It's a nice DLC. Alright, so had to come back here to defend the place. So whenever enemies attack, they always attack from the main entrance, but then they also attack from other various spots in the vault, which I'll show you. Missile turrets do have range to just this area, so if I weren't so overpowered and I actually had to worry more about my health, I would have probably fallen back to a different position instead of just taking all of these rounds, but this fight's gonna go on for a while, actually. So, I'll find something to talk about. Alright, so if any of you guys are hiking or backpacking in the Rocky Mountains, I highly recommend it. It's beautiful. Great hiking spots, great place to be. But you do actually have to worry about the animals out there. So the first option, the safest option really, is to hike with a group. Solo hiking has a lot of, risk on its own. You really shouldn't do it unless you're comfortable with it. I mean, a little day hike, just out for a few hours and back, 10 miles or less, not a big deal. But if you're out overnight and all that, you gotta know what you're doing. So if you're out with a group, because the Rocky Mountains, we got, we got puma, we got mountain lions, and black bears out there. And black bears are usually cowards. They act like labs when you just found out that they broke into the trash, and they just run off. Kind of cute, but they're still wild animals. They're still very big, so you don't want to mess with them. And if you're out solo, something could happen. And mountain lions are just evil. I mean, I get it, they're animals, animals can't be evil, but oh my god, mountain lions are evil. We used to have a code phrase for them, so we wouldn't scare off any of the campers we had with us. Bears were, I think, Mike, we called him Mike, and then mountain lions were Lucy, for Lucifer. So anyway, mountain lions are sneaky buggers. They'll stalk prey for a while, and they've known to kill people and then not even eat them afterwards. They just like to kill things. That's why we call them evil. It's bad. So if you're out in a group, you're usually fine. You know, safety in numbers. They don't like to mess with something that they can't go up against. But if you're going solo, bear spray is a great option. Some of that high-powered stuff. I was talking to a dude who, his whole job was he was a guide in Alaska, and so during the season, he would make his money being a guide, but then during the off season, he had to supplement it, so he would do things like, running different condition tests and stuff like that and write magazine articles about and stuff like that. And he's talking about bear spray. He's actually seen it in testing in Yellowstone, where they test bear spray against bears, and that stuff will stop a charging bear in its tracks. A bear running at, like 30 miles per hour or whatever, they get hit with that bear spray, they will stop, turn around, and sprint towards the nearest water source. Alright, so yeah, the vault's in here, all of this stuff. I'm going to show you the 2 locations where, when raiders attack, where they get kind of locked up, so you know where to go to clear them out. Not going to show you the entire vault and all of its intricacies, because it's a big place, and that's part of the fun of it. So, this is the first spot. I put up a concrete barrier here. That leads to a manhole cover that opens up, I think, downtown. Pretty neat. So bear spray is a great option. Another one, though, a better option for mountain lions, but bear spray will work against mountain lions, is bring a gun. So 9mm and 45 will work pretty good for mountain lions. For bears, I mean, this is going to sound weird. Maybe it won't sound weird. Maybe this will just sound normal. But for bears, bear spray is better than a gun. Just the chemical of it, the instant burning, they're almost blind, they're in extreme pain, and all they want to do is to get away from you. With a gun, if you shoot them, their adrenaline's going, they're going to keep trying to kill you until they're dead. So, bear spray or a gun. I had this hippy-dippy teacher who liked mountain biking who almost ran right into a bear. After that, she bought a .44 Magnum. She was only like 5'2", so it was pretty fun. Alright, so here's the second spot. Opens up near that synth hangout near that college. Raiders get stuck here a lot. So now we got the castle. Supply lines down to Jamaica Plain, of course, and if Bethesda really wanted to be cool, they'd allow the Minutemen to have a Coast Guard because of the Far Harbor DLC, so then you could have brought it down to Testicle Island, and down to Warwick Homestead, to Nordhagen Beach, and then up there to, as soon as I get there, sorry, I recorded the video for this, and now I'm talking over it afterwards. Around the castle is a lot of super mutants, some raiders here and there just to mix things up, so it's in a pretty dangerous spot. And with that one settlement path coming from Jamaica Plain, anybody who volunteers to be part of the Minutemen, just getting to the castle is proof that they're strong enough in my eyes. So this front area, this is the main entrance, just concrete and a door. The second entrance over there as well. Here, all these holes in the wall, you can't fully rebuild it unless you use mods, which I don't have. Yeah, here's the second door. So with all these holes in the wall, I just put up some concrete walls, and it works good enough. This is the second entrance. You'll get attacked by a few raiders here, not too much, so I just put some machine guns there. So I don't have to screw with power lines. Honestly, I could have built out the castle much more than this. I got kind of lazy with it. Up here, this is the main entrance, so this is where all the turrets go. It'll wreck anybody coming through. And so for that second entrance, not a whole lot of raiders go out there, and it wouldn't make sense for them to either, because you can see that path that they would have to go down. It's fully exposed the entire way, and it's like twice the distance to reach the second entrance than to the main entrance. Out here, I have seen a Marler Queen spawn out here, but once you get those walls, those concrete walls built up to patch the holes, they can't get inside, so it's not a big deal. Tubs, this is pretty basic, and out there is water purifiers, so you can build a ton of water purifiers out here if you choose to, which is a really nice option. And that one they just give you for free. First show up, it's already there. Inside here, because this is the headquarters of the Minutemen, I put up a data station. You know, that's purely for, you know, LARPing purposes. It doesn't actually change anything. Tons of space inside for all the beds and stuff. If you wanted to max the settlement out to, you know, 20, 25, whatever people, you'd probably have to either sardine them or build up a something on the outside to house people. But I didn't want to put up a settlement beacon to attract settlers while this is supposed to be Minutemen. This is supposed to be a military headquarters. So I left it just the way it is, which is why it's kind of bare bones, because Bethesda didn't really... They screwed the Minutemen. They really did. Like, there was so much more potential there. You know, if anybody asked for it in the comments, I made this video because my last Fallout video got 10 views, so I decided that was enough, and then I made this. So if literally anybody in the comments wants to see a video on why the Minutemen should be way better than they are, I'll do that. Anyway, here's the Arms Depot and all of that. Yeah, not much to say here. It is a cool place. I do like it. It's just hasn't reached its potential. So here we are at Warwick Homestead. When I traveled here, it was under attack, so I'm just gonna let this play so you can see how the kill corridors and the defensive structures work. So yeah, everybody was trapped there right at the beginning in that zigzag, trapped in that kill box and wiped out all but the strongest right away. So that's proof of concept right there. That shows that it works. I didn't have to do anything. You know, I didn't have to touch a single dude. You could see those metal walls right there protecting the water purifiers, because those missiles have damaged them in the past. But once I put up those walls, it doesn't really mess with them anymore. Yeah, this one, I'm just letting this play through because I think it's funny. This is a legendary enemy. He tried to run away, and now he's trapped, getting shot at. So I'm gonna go dive down, say hello to him. Warwick Homestead is, so it's built on an old sewage plant. The farming is fantastic. The sewage plant doesn't actually change that, but there's tons of land for it, so farming's really good. There's water surrounding the whole thing. You can build a ton of water purifiers. The defending it is really easy because you can see there, so it's built on a little peninsula, and the enemies only come from the land side. So you've only got one point to protect from anywhere. Now on the roof, you'll see later, I put up some missiles that defend the water for like boat attacks on invertebrates and, you know, whatever. This guy's being goofy. He's I can breathe underwater, but I don't think he can. This is something I've actually never found before, so I was kind of excited to find this. Just some piping under the water outside of Warwick Homestead. It doesn't lead anywhere, it's just got the one thing of loot. Because Bethesda, they really didn't put anything under the water that cool. So I figured not enough people would be going down here to explore to make it worth the the effort or the size requirements. I don't know what their train of thought was. It's probably rushed. I don't know. Just knowing Bethesda and their goofiness. They make fun games, but goddamn. Alright, so, yeah, so Warwick Homestead. Great place, but it's got some problems. Just outside of it, it's got a bandit hideout filled with German raiders. It's got another raider hideout just across the street, and then it's got the gunner hive in that old city, Quincy. Because of its peninsula location, if you take into, account boats and stuff like that, then this could be a very important place, because it's got high-level enemies kind of nearby, but it's also kind of isolated by itself. It's very easy to defend. If you go by boat, you're not hugging the shores or anything like that, so your journey's going to be pretty safe. And it's just across the water from Testicle Island. Now, this place I'm walking in right now, if you go further in that direction, you'll get hit by, I want to say mud crabs. Sorry, it's fairly early. Anyway, yeah, Warwick Homestead, got Testicle Island right there, and of course, Jamaica Plain. That journey from Jamaica Plain to Warwick Homestead is a tough one, because you gotta go past all those raiders and the gunners, and then the raiders down by the Vault 88 area. So whenever you're sending a supply line there, your provisioner, always give them top-notch armor and weapons. I've been trying to outfit all of my provisioners with legendary weapons, but for that one especially. So yeah, you got your main hard point already built into the map, right there. Oh, yep. Completed. Help defend Warwick Homestead. Looks like the guy can't breathe underwater. I'll go see what he's got on him afterwards. If I remember right, I think it was just a cryogenic leather arm piece or something. Yeah, so inside, pretty basic. They already have all the beds set up and all of that. Really, the only thing I added was a few potted plants, a surgery center, and this door system. Outside, you got your shops, you got your wonderful farming. This spot is weird. So yeah, you could build up floors along here so that this becomes usable space, and this is where I put the rest of the beds for all the settlers and stuff like that. Then you have this second concrete structure that I wanted to do more with it, but I couldn't figure out what, so it's kind of basic. Here, Mr. Warwick himself was stuck in the water swimming in place, and he couldn't get out, so I built those little steps for him. Because I had to talk to him for admission, but I couldn't because he was just swimming. On top of the roof here, yep, plenty of turrets, great space. I really like this area. This is a fun one. So over here we got Testicle Island. I did mention, I keep bringing up the boat thing. I know it's not an actual gameplay, whatever, but, it would be really fantastic for Testicle Island here. Great location for it. It's just connected to Warwick Homestead, but if you had the boats, you can go to the castle, Nordhagen Beach, Taffington Boathouse, over there at Croup Manor, Kingsport Lighthouse, and then all the way up the coast into the DLC location that's slipping my mind at the moment. So there's a lot of permanent structures already built here when you show up to the place. This is a nice little construction area. This house, I didn't do anything with this house in this playthrough. It's pretty worn down, but in previous playthroughs, I've fixed up the floors, like built a second and third level to it. It's a little tough to get the floors in the right place, but it's doable. This is a very big settlement area with a ton of building space allowed to it. So I'm not going to show the whole thing, but that beach, that's where the enemies tend to concentrate at. Up here you got just a little whatever. down here is where I ended up building my main settlement spot. So, and I just did that because of the security it offers and the height advantage. And, you know, 2 water purifiers. I probably could have built 10 if I wanted. I do love this island. Once you scrap all the radioactive barrels in this area, this becomes great. Because if you scrap the barrels, you're no longer getting radiation poisoning when you walk by, and it becomes livable. Not super realistic, but, you know, whatever, don't care. So, yeah, it's basically just a whole bunch of cargo containers up here that you can scrap all the insides of. Make your way over. This is where I built the upper level for it. Kind of sardined them in. Not a whole lot to say about the inside. Down there, that generator's in a good spot. And the turrets here have very good range on everything. You see that doorway I put in there. Really helps out. See the farm down there at the corner. Yeah. Not a whole lot to say about this this settlement for construction wise, because it's so big. You can do anything you want. I don't need to give you advice for anything. It's, you know, it's free for all. You got all the space you can ever want for it. I just decided to build it here by these shipping crates this time because I want to try something new, and I kind of like it. And raiders will, you know, spawn every once in a while throughout this map, or I mean, sometimes in the middle of this map whenever it gets under attack. Alright, so I am going to talk to you about this thing. So when you're first starting, this has screwed me before. So when you first come here, you see this checklist. Step 1, check the wires are okay. Don't need to, they're fine, but just follow the wires. Step 2, turn on the generator first, then flip the switch. This is where it glitches up. So save here before you touch anything, because if you mess this up, you can never put a settlement on this island. Alright, so then you follow the wires down. There might be a mirelurk or two. You know, kill them off, not hard. And then pop in this boat here. Get stuck because this is this. There we go. Flip that. So sometimes what will happen is you'll flip it and that light will turn on, but you won't hear the noise. And that means it's broken. You gotta load your save, restart the game, try again. That's what screwed me. And then, so turn on that generator, light comes on, noise comes on, Mirelurk Queen wakes up. Fight, kill it, keep moving. Once the generator's on, and making the noise, and it's lit up, and all those power stations are lit up, then you can flip the switch. And if the noise comes on and all the Mirelurks start dying, then you're good. Then immediately save, so that, you know, you can actually build a settlement here. That screwed me over in my last playthrough, and I lost dozens of hours of playtime because of that. I was very frustrated. Here we are at Starlight Drive-in. This one, unless they give you the mission to go there, I've actually had trouble finding this one before. So yeah, it acts as a sort of central hub for trading to the other settlements. It's a very large settlement, and with a high capacity for build limit. And it's got a little pool of water, which once you scrap all the radiation barrels inside of it, you can put down a water purifier there. So this is a great settlement, and it's very nice. So this first area, I don't really use it for much, except for some shops and some forward defenses, because that's where the enemies tend to come in. They tend to come in through that front area and then down the hill to the right. And yeah, I can put down a second purifier if I wanted to. Just some odds and ends scattered, and at the end there is all the farms. All that dirt's usable. Yeah, at the base there I put a couple of manufacturing plants, because I figured why not, you know, want to keep a well-armed militia. In here, I haven't done anything with these rooms this time. I just left the bath because, you know, don't want them getting dirty or whatever. Left the crib because yeah, whatever, don't know. And then up here, so I didn't build a, one of those gates like I usually do. I could probably figure out a way to do it, but because this is a straight shot all the way up with zero cover the entire way, I feel like it's good enough, you know? And this is in a very low enemy level area, and in order to get here, they have to go across the entire place where they're in range of turrets anyway. Speaking of turrets, yeah, here's the turrets. I really like this map, and of course I love building up, so I built my entire thing on top of this, but you don't need to. You can build it on ground level. There's tons of room here, so it's really dealer's choice, whatever you want to do. This is a great settlement. It's in a pretty safe area, but it's got access to all sorts of stuff. Here we got Tenpines Bluff. This is a pretty early one that you'll find. It's a low danger area, but there are raiders nearby. My connections here, Starlight Drive-in and Zimonja Outpost, because Outpost Zimonja is, you know, right across the street from it. So this one, there's not a whole lot to say about it. There's this one permanent shack at the beginning, which you can't get rid of. And then up there, that little... I have put a full, like, building here, a small building, and made it look real nice. So you got some options there, but you can't really house many people in that one. Good farmland right in the beginning. There is no water source here, so it's just these dirt pumps. And then on the first level, got all the shops and stuff like that on ground floor. In that wrecked building out there in the corner, it's kind of hard to do anything with it, how to build. Oh, this is where the enemies come from, out in that direction. I've never seen them come from the sides or from... I have seen a couple come from the back, so it's good to keep a turret or two there. Yeah, this building's hard to work with, but, you know, I always build up. And sardines. This one is not as bad as it used to be. It used to be half the size, so it was just packed. And then, yeah, all my turrets and stuff. I've only seen a couple guys come up through there, so I haven't put a lot. And that single entrance point in the beginning really helps things out. Makes them run all the way around, where they're exposed to turrets the whole way. So yeah, from here, the enemies come from that region, from the front, and sometimes the side. So if you kill off the main attack, but you can't find the last ones, they're probably at the side. Here is Outpost Zimonja, just shooting these 3 enemies here, 2 turrets, 1 dude, just to show you how close these guys spawn next to the outpost. That's the outpost right there, enemies right down the street, almost within turret range. So Outpost Zimonja, it's connected to the Tenpines Bluff, and then down to Greentop Nursery. That stretch down to Greentop Nursery, you could do Taffington Boathouse instead. The only reason I did it this way is Taffington Boathouse would have to move through that little town. That's just, there's super mutants and synths and sometimes gunners in there, so I decided to take the long way from Outpost Zimonja because it's a much safer route. There's not a whole lot to fight there. Yeah, I do like this one because it's an old, you know, radio tower or something. It's pretty cool looking. The space requirements mean that, you know, building up. That's neat though. I haven't seen that hike with all those people coming down. So yeah, there's plenty of room for farming and stuff like that, but no water source. So you gotta put in the dirt pumps. That's why whenever... You might have noticed a trend. Whenever there is a water source available, I always overproduce with the water, so that places like this, where it's hard to get water, I try to meet the minimum, but, you know, in case something messes up, it's nice to have that overflow. On this first floor, not much you can do with it. Size requirements and all that. Second floor, this is where I build up. So you can just straight up plug in more flooring here. And then on the first one, I got all my shops and stuff to keep the farmland free. And then I get stuck on this guy. Bethesda. And sardines. But, you know, it's not too bad. Lots of open space here. I like building around that radio tower. I think that's fun. And then on the top, tons of turrets. Although I've only ever seen the enemies approach from the front. They've never attacked from the side before. Although something of note here, right here, on that corner. I'm on the roof, but if you go down to the floor level, it's almost perfect with that rock face. So you can try to do something there if you want as a second entrance. Now I'm gonna show you, so you usually attack this place when you're pretty early level, and it can be a tough fight, because there's a dude with power armor down there, bandit with power armor. So I'm gonna show you what I do, because I'm a coward, I always use stealth. So come up on this bridge, go down, you'll usually have at least a basic hunting rifle at this point, and then without all this built up, you get a great view into there, and you can hit all the raiders. They really don't have much good cover. So you'll take a shot, plink at them, they'll get hurt, then you back off till you're hidden, and then you go back. It takes a lot of time, but that one dude with power armor has a fat man, so, you know, gotta be careful with it. So here is Greentop Nursery. It's near that little town, so there are some dangers near there, and it's got the super mutants up to the north, and if you want to go to the Slog, you gotta fight through those bugs and robots. So it's not in a safe place. There are some dangers nearby, but they're easy enough to handle. So that's why I have Outpost Zimonja go to it, like I described already. Now with Greentop Nursery, that other video that I was talking about, where I go much more in depth for the reasons of why and how I do the inner versus outer security perimeters and all of that, that video was on Greentop Nursery. Greentop Nursery was my example for it where I went real in depth. So I'm going to keep this one pretty short. So you got, I made this a merchant area because of its location and all that. So lots of stuff to sell here. That booze still. I'm actually upset about this. I'm going to have to start another game because I didn't think about after killing the Nuka-Cola Raiders I wouldn't be able to build any more booze stills. So I'm going to start another game, come in and build like 30. And this will be a mass production. Alright, so this area, it's got no water source, so you need to use dirt pumps. But on top of this building, I always build up, and once you build up, it's pretty easy. You just gotta build around that little chimney that was up there. And the rooftop, never seen enemies come from the back here. They always come from, there's always a few there, like 2 or 3, but most of them spawn about there, and then come in from that side. You got a great greenhouse right there for food. Yeah, it's not a bad place. So here we got the Slog, trade lanes, Greentop Nursery, but you can also go down to Finch Farm or Kingsport Lighthouse. Finch Farm, Kingsport Lighthouse follow about the same path, except that the Slog you can avoid for the most part that raider group down at Sanguis Ironworks, but up north to that coastal cottage, it's not really worth sending the Slog there because they'd have to go all the way around. May as well have the lighthouse go to them. Now here, you can tell pretty quickly that it's very underdeveloped. So the Slog has a ton of potential, and you could do a lot with it. It's actually a really great place, but the reason I didn't, and I left most of this exactly the way it was, is because the guy who runs the place wants this to be a ghoul oh, look at that, cutie. Wants this to be a ghoul settlement, so that, you know, the people of the wasteland, you know, can see ghouls are human or whatever. So I didn't put up a settlement beacon, so that it could stay cool. So because I didn't put up that beacon, it's a very low population, and I didn't really work out too much on it. That swimming pool full of tarberries, you can't plant new ones, kind of lame, but you can put water purifiers down there. So you have access to a ton of water. And look at this space. You can build a full defensive 1-point entrance right there. You can build up something out here. I don't really know what you would put there, but you know, you got the room for it, and the size limitations allows for it. Back here, you got this space right here would be perfect for a for like a barracks for tons of people storage. And then you still got all that farmland off to the side there. And just real quick while I'm at it, so that's about it for this location. It's a great location. It's got a lot of potential. I just didn't utilize it. This diving board, I'm gonna rant a little bit. I've been ranting the whole video, but this diving board is really cool because it's the only one I've found, or at least can remember, but there's nothing here. There's no bodies of people who tried to dive and they messed up. Oh, this is where the enemies come from, by the way. They always come from the front. Yeah, this diving board, there's nothing like it in the rest of the map, and there's, you know, they could put something, you know, like something to loot, or like a dead body and diving shorts that tried to dive when it was too shallow, or a terminal talking about, I don't know, something. Yeah, whatever. Alright, next up is Covenant. Covenant's in a good location. It's very close to Taffington Boathouse, and the journey from Starlight Drive-in isn't too dangerous. But I don't like Covenant. So yeah, it's in a pretty safe spot, but it's near enough that you can get to places. But it's just so small. Then you can see here that the dead bodies of the previous occupants never really go away. And those destroyed turrets up there on the walls, as soon as they're not enemy to you, but as soon as you build your own turrets, they'll fight each other. So you gotta destroy them all. And then those smoldering remains, you can't remove them. So just build up so that your turrets can shoot outside the walls. Very little space for farmland. That's a continuing thing for here. There's just so little space. And there's no open water source, so dirt pumps. Inside, everybody's going to be sardined in. Yeah, I even put, in that building, I even put beds in the cell. I had to fit the fruit plants along the walls in the shade where they actually wouldn't grow that well. And here I had to be ridiculous and build a almost second level so I could put beds on top of a counter. Although, let's see if Deezer will give me lemonade still.
Hey, Deezer.
Less rads, less mute fruit.
Sure. I'll take some.
Enjoy.
Oh, never mind. Alright, yeah, Deezer's still giving lemonade. I don't hate this place anymore. So this is a fun little spot with a interesting challenge for space requirements. If we check out the outside here, one thing that's really nice about this is it's got the one-way entrance. This place was built with defense in mind. So these concrete walls go all the way around the place. Sometimes enemies will spawn like surrounding it, but they're almost like always concentrate at the front. So I didn't even bother putting turrets around here. I have in previous playthroughs. I might still try it. But yeah, this place is easy to defend. It's a small spot, but Deezer still gives you lemonade. So, I mean, I like it. I like it now. Taffington Boathouse. This is pretty close to Covenant. Very convenient for its trade lane. But it's got that dangerous area up to the north, and to the south it's got pretty easy access to the city. That's not bad. Right there where the cursor is, though, that's there's this little drainage pipe that opens up to a semi-secret room with some good loot and some interesting, you know, like voice recordings and stuff like that. But it's filled with bugs, so you gotta fight off a lot of bloodsuckers on the way in. Now out here, you can tell no outer perimeter. Look at the size limitation there. So I'm not a big fan of that. It's hard to build anything big here. I could put a second water purifier down, but size is pushed in it, so if you put down more water purifiers, you gotta put down more defenses. I didn't want to screw with it. First floor, not much to it, just some shops. I could fit the generator inside the building, which I really liked. And then up here, I built up. I always build up. But here it's more important because there's limited space outside. These turrets on this mid-level are really good at reaching, and all the enemies spawn out there. Not all of them, but a lot of them will spawn out behind that wall or on either side of the road, and a few stragglers will come down from down the hill. Sardined. Yep. Life's not comfortable, but, you know, it's that or digging through trash and getting killed by a super mutant. Not much to say about the rooftop. I only put a couple turrets up here because I got so many on that mid-floor. So over here at County Crossing, it's a nice little central location. It's close to the National Guard training area, which has ghouls and stuff in it. And it's close to that Revere Satellite Array, Marina, which has super mutants and raiders. But because of this location, it's good for Taffington Boathouse and, you know, a couple others in there. There's Nordhagen Beach and Finch Farm. But yeah, it's got some dangers around it, but it's fairly safe by itself. Whenever it gets attacked, they tend to send the higher level enemies at you. So this location, I could have done more here. Something about this settlement just rubs me the wrong way, so I don't come here much. But it is a good settlement. It's got plenty of building area. It's got a good size cap for it, plenty of size for it. Starting them in. Defense is pretty easy, you know, just fill the top with turrets. The enemies will attack from all but one side, more or less. So I built on top of the wrecked house, which is always a little bit difficult to get things to stick in place, but it works. I don't like the wasted space of destroyed houses, so I build up. This outer perimeter, a lot of them attack from that corner. Here in the water, and I'm gonna double check here to make sure that I'm actually right, but yeah, you can put down 2 water purifiers here. So it is not a bad settlement. I didn't bring it up to its full potential. I'm kind of kicking myself for that now, but also I don't really like hanging out here too much. It seems kind of grim. This little shack here is a permanent structure and kind of useless, but, you know, it is what it is. Great farm area. It's already got most of the fence built around it anyway. You could just continue the outer perimeter if you want to make this place actually good. Yeah, sometimes enemies will spawn in from back there. Super mutants like to come from this region back here. And they like to, you know, concentrate over there. I think part of the reason I don't like it so much is because the best entrance into this wrecked building is right at the edge of the map, and so it's really hard to build like a good defensive entryway. Nordhagen Beach here. So this one is at the end of the supply lane. Keep going, you'll find Fort Strong. So super mutants will attack this place sometimes. Up north you got some raiders, and out to the east you got raiders. So this place usually gets attacked by super mutants, raiders. Sometimes gunners will stop by from somewhere. Connected to County Crossing up there. Nordhagen Beach is actually a really neat spot because if boats were around, if the Minutemen had a brown navy like they should, or a Coast Guard, then this could be one of the stops they would make, and it would be pretty safe for them to stop by. So I always build up, of course, but you do have room to do more if you want. There's plenty of open beach space. This is the single point entry, and enemies always, the bodies always build up there. It works really well. Super mutants come from that side a lot. while the raiders usually come from that single point entry. And the gunners will just spawn right in the middle where people work out, so that's annoying. Tons of farmland. I could have put, you know, a dozen water purifiers if I wanted to, but this place gets attacked. This place gets attacked a lot anyway, so I didn't want to make it any more tempting by putting down more resources than necessary. I just built all the shops underneath for room and rain protection and all that. Yeah, you have a ton of open space on this beach. Now let's check out the little hard point we have in the middle. So just on top of this roof, you got your power door here. Close everything off. Everybody's packed in like sardines. And you have cover here and teleporting people, where you can mess up anybody who tries to come on. They have no cover, you have all the cover. I like building like that. Up on the roof, nothing special, just turrets. And a cutoff so that, you know, anybody laying siege to you doesn't have fresh water. That's where they usually come from when raiders come in. Sometimes they'll come in with multiple power armor people, and they all come from that direction. So it's good to have missile turrets pointed at them to mess up their power armor early. I like it up here. Good views. Here is Boston Airport. This is not a real settlement because you can't have settlers go there. It's just there so that you can build things for a mission for the Brotherhood of Steel, and that's it, so it sucks. But, you know, I might put a little bed and hidey hole here at some point. The Mechanicus layer from the DLC is also not a real settlement because you can't have settlers move there. But it's a little bit cooler than the Boston Airport, so I like it a little bit more, but it still sucks. I might put a little hidey hole here too. Finch Farm is really neat. County Crossing supplies it, but you could also have the Slog come down and supply if you want, and then it goes out to Kingsport Lighthouse. But again, Slog could go to Kingsport Lighthouse instead. It is surrounded by enemies, though. Raiders and gunners to the north, super mutants and raiders to the south. But it's really cool, and that elevator, that's a key feature. Alright, so this is a... oh, yeah, and you know, sometimes bugs. So I'll just swat this guy real quick. So behind me here is the permanent built shack thing. Tons of farmland right out here. Really great. That shack can't do nothing with it, but it's got room for a few beds. I put all the stores down here so that, you know, traders and stuff don't actually enter the secured area. And over here, you know, you got a water purifier. Really only room for one, but you know, that's enough. That's enough. Yeah. I have had stairs here in the past, but I upgraded to this guy and I like it a lot. Easy to just turn off the elevator, cut power to it, and suddenly you're totally safe. You don't need power doors. Great views from up here. The turrets do reach, they do fight off the enemies. On top of this bridge, it's really cool. Or highway. Watch your step though. I should probably cover that. Oh, it's something that's funny. When you fast travel in, sometimes the settlers will just fall through the floor if you're not close enough for it to render. This is where the super mutants are, by the way, that I'm looking through the scope at. Looks like they haven't spawned back in. On the other side here, yep, got your generator, got your cutoffs and all that. I swore one of those was supposed to be a cutoff. Whatever, I'll fix it at some point. Doesn't really matter. It's all for, you know, headcanon lore playthrough, whatever. In the actual gameplay, of course, they don't. The settlers don't use real tactics. On the other side there is where the gunners like to hang out. But again, they haven't spawned back in since last time I cleared it. Really nice views.
Yeah.
Not much to say up here, you know, it's just sardined in. I did build this little tower at the top of the building elevation limit. It's for a nice little view. I really like Finch Farm. It's a nice place. So here is Kingsport Lighthouse. It's, yeah, to the south is that cannery, not much. Crater House is full of those Children of Adam people, though. So it's in a fairly safe spot. Got connected to Finch Farm, but it could be the Slog. And then down to Croup Manor and Coastal Cottage. Because Kingsport Lighthouse is right on the coast there, you know, if there was a navy with boats and stuff, that would be a great place to dock. So the enemies like to spawn in this area over here, and then they all run up this direction. They like to take cover behind this trailer here, but because of those defenses up there, this isn't real cover, so they still get blown up. Single point entry. All the they got a zigzag here, and they get slammed with turrets. Of course, got the artillery.
Yes.
Good farmland.
Yes.
Enemies can't get up through these rocks and fences, so it really is just single point. I put all the shops inside this little house here. I didn't really do much with this one. With this house, as to say. Second floor had a couple beds, so I left them. But here I just built around, and I built the for the turret access over here. It's a little tricky laying those first floors, but it's doable. You might notice everybody's glowing red. I think it's a glitch. Oh, two water purifiers there. I can probably fit a third, but you know, 2 is enough. And then the perimeter here, yeah, just fenced off there. I didn't do anything with this spot, but I left it open and threw in a bed for some reason. 4 boats. This would be a great place for some small boats to come in. A good brown water navy. Oh, also, if you're thinking along navy, yep, turrets. Good spot for turrets too. Yeah, so these guys are glowing red. I think it's a glitch. It's because the suit of power armor I left here for the guys highlights all living things red. And I think when a settler is wearing it, it applies to you as well. So that's kind of handy. Yeah, so I built up so everybody lives up here. So no fat people. Or old people, I guess. Yeah, very Spartacus sort of society. Anyway, yeah, so building up here, it's a pain. You can see that like one brown block I put on the banister. That's what's holding this entire thing up. I have no idea where he's going. Oh yeah, so there's the crater house. I think that's what it's called, crater house. It's got the Children of Adam hanging out. Just gonna see if I have the range. I do! I really like this settlement. Look at that. Look at that range. I can bother my enemy without even getting close to being in danger. Kingsport Lighthouse is the best, man. I love this place. Alright. Yeah, going up, there's usually or when you first get here, there's a glowing one up here. You just open the door, frag mine them. Rinse and repeat. Sardined. There are some gaps where you can potentially fall through if you're not careful, but you know, all cliff-dwelling societies have little issues like that. These defenses are fantastic and can reach everywhere. Man, look at those views. Croup Manor is out on this little island. It's just got that one connection in Kingsport Lighthouse. That journey is fairly safe, but right there on that land bridge area, there's some robots out there that cause trouble, and then some enemies like Deathclaws or whatever spawn there at that edge. Then down across the street from the Nahant Chapel, enemies spawn in this little house. So there's plenty of activity around, so defense is important here. So you can kind of see in the distance, it's got that one permanent structure, and it's got this nice little outer perimeter where most of it's already built up with this wooden fence, so you just gotta finish it off. Enemies all spawn in this region. They spread out from there, but they all focus on that, concentrate on that. Now, two issues with this place, which if you notice with the rest of the areas means that I don't like them, is it's right off the edge of the water, but there's no access to it, so you can't build a water purifier on it, which is really frustrating. And because of how steep the cliffs are and stuff like that, it wouldn't even work well for a boat dock or anything. So you gotta use the dirt purifiers, and actually the second thing, I seem to remember the size cap for building limitations was a lot lower, but it looks like I'm good this playthrough. Yeah, little power door in here. So this place is great just because this permanent structure is so useful. It's so well done. There's plenty of room and stuff. Down there is a basement for when you have to clear this place out. Yeah, the second floor up here. This room is neat. I wanted to do more with it, but I couldn't figure out what to do because it's kind of open and useless, but it's neat. Oh, because this house is so falling apart, you can actually fit a generator inside the place. Just have the power spikes stick through a hole in the ceiling. Pretty convenient. And yeah, sardine time. So this is on the third floor. So it's third floor, top floor. It's a pretty safe spot, but you know, it's close living. Because I didn't see any sort of boiler room or anything, it probably gets cold here in Boston. So, you know, maybe sleeping close together isn't such a big deal. Yeah, easy defense, just a couple turrets for, you know, people running along the back to get in, or, you know, coastal defenses, and then a ton of turrets at the front to mess up anybody coming in. I really like this place. So, got Coastal Cottage. The connections here goes down Kingsport Lighthouse. The Slog's not really doable because they'd have to walk around anyway and then go past Dunwich Borders and all that. So Kingsport Lighthouse is better. They just have to get somewhat nearby the Crater House, and then they're pretty much free roam. Sometimes they'll bump into raiders, but it's not too bad. And then that goes up to the DLC land of islands and fog. Alright, so single point entry coming up this hill. Building anything on hills is tough because it's always staggered and everything like that. There's a little permanent structure in here and stuck on the ground. Yep, so that happens. Couldn't really do much with that structure. This, yeah, put all the stores and stuff at the front. This little hole, Marlar could originally live there. I wanted to do something with it, but I couldn't figure out what. This house is a little bit wrecked. Behind it here, some good farmland, the rest of the outer perimeter. Sometimes enemies will spawn there, just a few, and sometimes they'll just be walking down this road, not even like a defensive action. Raiders will sometimes hang out there and be bothering some passerby that you can save, and Mirelurk Queen tends to spawn in that region. Now, this area doesn't have... oh, sometimes enemies will spawn behind that little shack, too. So, this area doesn't have a water source, so you're just going to have to use the dirt water purifiers right there. But it's got good farmland. It's in a great spot, too, right by the coast. There are higher level enemies around, but they're not so close by. Inside here, you know, you've got the closing door, great defense here, because there's holes in the floor above, which gives your people plenty of cover, but anybody invading has nothing. They're out in the open. Yeah. Check out those views. Good find reports. Also good for dropping grenades and stuff. I don't know if that works in gameplay. Alright, yep, up here, sardined, but with, you know, rugs, so it doesn't count as bad living conditions. Plenty of missile turrets and all that. You know, all my roofs look the same. Power pylon to cut off the water supply. Look at those views. Gorgeous. Yep, that's where the enemies like to come in. I don't know where that guy's going. Yeah, you shouldn't be there. I don't know what's... There's synths there. Whatever. Not my problem. Longfellow's Cabin is the first settlement you'll come across in Far Harbor. Got easy access to the Commonwealth, and it's a good between point. It's a good connection to the rest of Far Harbor for your trade lanes and stuff like that. It's a National Park Visitor Center, so you can tell it's not on the coast, so whoever goes there will have to walk. But there's only one entrance here. It's this little land bridge, so it's pretty easy to defend. There's a lot of potential for this place. It's very big. Lots of good farming available and stuff like that, but I left it pretty blank. And that's just a roleplay thing or whatever, because Longfellow's kind of a hermit and he doesn't like people too close. Oh, yeah, that power armor wasn't originally there. Found that one. So I left it as just like as basic as possible. I give him a little food, a little water, a little defense, and I think I put in an extra bed so that one of the trade lane people can rest here, but I didn't want to overcrowd him, you know. I'm letting him do his thing. But if you want to build it up, there's a lot of potential here, and you can put water purifiers down here and all of that. There's plenty of room for building and for farming and all that. So yeah, it's a nice little place. Man, look at all that access for water. Love it. National Park Visitor Center is the single place you'll come across. You gotta do some storyline missions in order to do it, or some side quest missions. Yeah, the trade lanes here are really just a straight line. They're not too complex. So this place is big. It's very large. This is a parking lot. You can't really grow anything here. You can build here if you want. But the enemies like to spawn behind those bushes and then run across. So I like to leave it open so that, you know, they're totally exposed the entire sprint to the front. The problem is there's a lot of high-level enemies that attack in Far Harbor in general. So the turrets won't really stop them. So whenever this place gets attacked, unless you want to... I should have put in the extra effort and built a power door and all of that. I will after this. Yeah, I'm going to do that. But I left it as single point entry. So there's decent farmland inside, but there's no water source. You gotta use the dirt purifiers. Inside here, first level, yeah, all farms have the gaggle of people inside. This is surprisingly barren. I used to put beds there. Second floor, not a lot to say. Used to do more with it, but on this playthrough, I built this thing up so I can fully build it up. No enemies spawn there, actually. They all spawn that direction and that direction. Oh, and, you know, that direction behind those bushes. They come from 3 sides. Yeah, building this was a pain to get this right. But, yep, got a power door up here. Plenty of beds inside where they're all sardined in. Nice little defensive spot with a lot of turrets on top. These turrets have good range. They will hit those guys as they're running across that parking lot. Oh, and I got food down there too. Little farm. Outside the main perimeter. Yeah, that's where enemies like to spawn. There and there. And out there. Dalton Farm is a another place that has to be unlocked by a side quest. Oh, looks like a little trade person got knocked down. That'll happen sometimes, but you know, if you arm them up good, give them good armor and weapons and stuff like that, they won't get knocked down as frequently, but it will still happen. They'll get back up though. Yeah, there's some enemies nearby. Far Harbor, there's enemies everywhere. It's all about the same difficulty level no matter where you go. So this is the entrance here, single point entrance. So that's the defenses are located. Good farmland. I could have built this place up. You'll notice a trend. Far Harbor was the last place I went, and I was dealing with a lack of resources, so it's a little bit more bare bones than the rest. There's no real permanent structures here that are good for you, so I just put the hard point on top of a hill. Sardined everybody in. And yeah, like I said, got a little bit lazy here. Just put the generator on the roof. It's a lot easier. Just, you know, sneeze turrets all over the place. The enemies here, they come from just about everywhere. They come from the main entrance point, they come from the outside there, and most frustratingly, they come from that region just out there, which that fence should corral them in, but this place hasn't been attacked since I put that fence up, so I'm not sure if that'll completely work. You can see it ends there in that water. I don't know if they can cross there or not. Yep, 2 water purifiers. I could put 10 here if I wanted to. This place is fantastic for water resources.
Must be 30 years. Or
And I suppose these are the permanent structures, this little dock region. Which again, a dock, you know? If you had a brown water navy, this place would be great for it. Yeah, little farm. This is where there was a wrecked building before, but all you can do was scrap it, so I scrapped it. So, Echo Lake Lumber. This is the last of the Far Harbor settlements. Of course, trade lanes. Yep, see, that guy got back up. That trade lane's inactive again. This actually isn't a very dangerous place comparatively, because it's Eden Meadows Cinema is really the most dangerous spot, or I guess Raven Point, but those are kind of far away, so it's not so bad. The enemies will only spawn at this entrance point, as far as I know. Maybe a couple spawn off to the side there, but that single point entrance is really great. Bottlenecks them very well. Out here, I mean, you can loot a little bit of stuff out here, but it's not too useful. That's outside the build area. Inside, you got the main structure to the right, a little blocked off there. And this really neat workout area that used to be a lumberjack competition spot, which is, I think that's fun. Water purifier, I could put down multiple, but you know, when I was building this place, one of the last, I was dealing with resource issues, so I didn't have enough turrets to protect 2 water purifiers. This little structure there that I just walked through can get scrapped, but I like the light. And this barn thing, in the past I have built this out to house people. I just decided against it this time and just sardine them into the one permanent structure. Great farmland out here, tons of space for it. Lots of open space. Yeah, all the enemies will go through there, with maybe 1 or 2 getting caught in that sails area that was off the map that I showed you earlier. Yeah, inside I could put a bower door in here. Probably should at some point. Yep, sardine everybody in. More shops and stuff. And then just, you know, splatter beds wherever you think they can fit. It'll work out. Yep, water cut off. So if you're under siege, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense if I don't have a power door in yet, but, you know, building up to it. lots of turrets and stuff. Since almost everybody spawns in the same place, I put all the turrets face the same direction with just 2 on the ends here of the roof to give a more, you know, broad range. So I still have some defense along the sides. Nuka-World Red Rocket. This is the only settlement available in this Nuka-World DLC. Of course, all of Nuka-World's pretty dangerous. If you see to the right there, those 2 stone columns, that road, that marks the end of the build boundary. I could have put defenses reaching all the way over there, an outer perimeter at least, but chose not to. Here's, you know, tons of farmland, really good. So you could build out if you wanted to. There's so much space available here. Of course, I built up, but, you know, you can do what you want. This is goofy. So there is open water source, but it's literally just a puddle. So I just crammed as much as I can fit into that little puddle, and it worked out. Oh, the settlers are all being goofy. This is actually the first time it's happened to me in like 5 playthroughs, so I'm gonna see how this goes.
She's a goddamned Institute infiltrator. She may look human, but
Please, don't let them do this.
Look, if you're a synth.
I swear, I'm not a synth.
Uh-huh. Let her go. She's not a synth.
My God, thank you. We're good then, right?
Hmm. Alright, cool. So anyway, Nuka-World,
got it?
yeah, so this place, it does have water access for purifiers. It has a really big build limit. It's got a lot of space to build, and of course, you know, people swarm the whole thing. I built up, so let's check out the roof of this building. First floor, just a kind of hangout spot. No lights because I didn't want to keep everybody up, and everybody sardined. While I'm here, I'm just going to build a bunk bed real quick. Nothing special on the roof, just more turrets. So the enemies really like to come from one direction. They really like to come from out there. And that fence is good at blocking them off. And those turrets, it looks like the angle's wrong, but they do have the range and they will hit them. So that's pretty fun. Don't know what that is. So that building right there will usually spawn a whole bunch of enemies. See if anybody's hanging out in there. It's usually the raider gangs or whatever. Nah, it looks pretty empty. But yeah, so this is the last settlement on the list. This is the whole thing. All the places. Don't really have anything else to talk about. And my throat's getting all scratchy because I've been recording for hours since I don't... Jesus, that's a lot of Brahmin. Since I don't talk to people in real life, this is most I've talked in weeks. Alright, yeah, I can keep babbling. I think that's it. Good outro. Alright, love you guys, drink water, play safe.